Hello, everyone. It's been a while, but we are back here at Athletic Park, and let me welcome you into Mavs on Deck. Of course, our pregame show before we get set for Mavericks versus the Weyburn Beavers, who are in town for a two-game series. And as always, with you for another pregame, I'm Truman Bartman, and alongside me is Wayne Slosher. Wayne, a successful road trip for the Mavs, going up to a couple different parts of Alberta that they hadn't visited yet, and they got to be feeling good coming into today.
Yeah, they had a bad home stand. I shouldn't say a bad. They were 1-3 after having gone 12 games undefeated at home. And we had talked after that last loss to Saskatoon that them getting on the road was a good thing. And, they got 4 victories out of 6 games. That's a great road trip. And they're back at home for 5.
And they have one of their best on the mound back at home tonight. Xander Roberts going to go for them. He had a tough last outing at home, but he found his spark against Sylvan Lake when he was going against the Gulls in a tightly matched game. It's got to feel good for him to get back into his element and also getting another chance to go at it here at home.
Well, we also talked about Xander. He had that bad first inning against Saskatoon. And we said, that's a one-off. That's not him out on the mound. And you could see he was struggling. He was trying to get his curveball to hit the corner, and he was just missing. And then when he came in with the fastball, Saskatoon were sitting there waiting to hit it. So we kind of knew that wasn't Xander, and it was good to see him rebound.
And for the Beavers, they're going to need to do exactly that. They're 1-9 in their last 10 games. For a team that had lots of high hopes coming into the season, they have underperformed. And that's not talking about everybody on their team, because there's been key performances from Noah Brooks or Ian Heck, so to say. But largely, their season disappointing, and they're on the outside looking in as the playoff picture currently looks in the East.
Well, when we saw them earlier in the year play here in the Hat, we were impressed with how they played. We thought that this team has a real good chance of making the playoffs because their pitching was very good when they came here. And we know that they've got very good hitters with Heck and Daphne and Dorrance. And, they've got a lineup that is strong. But for whatever reason, it hasn't worked out so far. And hopefully it doesn't work out in the next 2 days.
Yep, at least for the Mavs' sake, that is, and we will see what comes of that in moments' time. We'll be back, of course, with our starting lineups and the start of today's game as we are back in the Hat and baseball is about to be played.
Our home and native land, true patriot love, in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Hold on, a quick intro into the lineups. Welcome back, everyone. It's been a while, and we are excited to welcome you back over to Athletic Park for today's game between the Weyburn Beavers, who are in town for not just today's game, but a two-game series, and the Mavericks, fresh off of a road trip, as we talked about in the pregame. They went 4-2 over that time. Super successful, especially for the travel that they had to take on during that time. And they ride in here hot, and as we take a quick look at who's throwing out the opening pitch tonight, it is James Tubb, who we had up here earlier.
That's right.
And so, special moment for Mr. Wednesday Night, James, who's a excellent writer for the Medicine News. But as I was saying about the Mavericks coming in very hot to this matchup, and the Beavers doing the opposite, 1-9 in their last 10, and it has been a disastrous season thus far. But we're back, and we are about to see what will happen in today's game. It's a fresh slate, as always, for both, and we are ready to get it going here on Flow Sports. As always, Wayne Slosher beside me. My name is Truman Bartman. And Wayne, why don't you fly us through the starting lineups for tonight before we see some action?
Yeah, it's Santa Claus night here at Athletic Park, so a little special opening night here for this 5-game homestand. Alex Alva is leading off. He's at second base. Ryan Daphne is at first base. Ian Heck is pitching, and he's also the DH. Noah Brooks is in right field. Trevor Dale at shortstop. Zach Tanabe is the left fielder. Chet McDaniel in center field. Luke Malzewski at first base. And Rob Gurney will do the catching. For the hometown Mavs, it's Jeremy Freeman in center. Aaron Volcano in right, Tyler Vanesti at third, Carter Roth at second, Johnny Volcano at short. Jimmy Volcano, that's his dad. Jaden Babiak is catching, Evan Morrison at first, Adam Volcano is the DH, and Micah Dvorak is in left field. The umpires for tonight, Willie Glasgow is at home plate. First base is Tyler Murphy, and the crew chief, Derek Sada, is at third base.
Haven't had Derek Sada this year, so a new name, as you may have heard. And we'll get into who's on the mound. We talked about him a little bit before for the Mavericks, but maybe have more of an in-depth look in a second. And for the Weyburn Beavers, you might be curious. No opening graphic for them tonight. When your lineup comes in later than usual, it's tough for a one-man band, a.k.a. myself, to be able to build that in time. So if you want a graphic and you're a team listening, get the lineup in early and we'll be able to deliver. And delivering a first pitch strike is Xander Roberts for the Mavs, and he gets a swing and a miss on his second offering as well. And as we said, Roberts, he's been an elite pitcher in the league so far this year, just the one blip within his first campaign with the Mavericks. But he's looking to continue his dominance from when he faced Sylvan Lake, and there's a strikeout, his first of the game on 3 consecutive pitches. He sits down Alex Alva. And
we talked about a little bit before the game. We could have a little bit of a pitcher's duel here tonight. Roberts and Heck are two of the premier pitchers for their teams. It is a beautiful night here tonight. Plus 35 degrees, plus 34, low 90s. And the ball is going to travel out of here. There is a light breeze blowing from home plate out to right field.
And as we saw on the stats from Roberts there that were on the screen, 3 wins so far this season, a 3.90 ERA. He's going to get a ground out over to first for out number 2. So a real hot start here for Roberts. 2 up, 2 down. And of course, the strikeout total also climbing very high. I believe he's up to 19 after that one in this game. Not as quite as many as Ian Heck, who we're going to see for the Weyburn Beavers. 37 on the season. He's near the top of the league in that stat. Here works Roberts, third batter faced of the game, and it is Ian Heck. Heck, one of the most special players in the WCBL, because not only does he play 2 different positions, but he is elite at both as he swings and misses there.
Roberts attacking the strike zone. He's only thrown 1 ball so far to the first 3 batters.
And these Beavers batters, they like to swing. They like to chase after pitches. They can hit the long ball very well, but they are an aggressive bunch. Here comes Roberts. Going to throw that one and get a swing from Heck.
That curveball was the one that Xander had a little problem with the last time here he pitched.
Working quickly. Here comes the throw from Roberts. A bouncer that catches Babiak on the hand. And he will shake it off as he heads back behind the plate. Here comes the dealing from Roberts. Swing and a miss as he gets Heck. 3 up, 3 down, 2 strikeouts in the process. What a return to Athletic Park for Xander Roberts. And we quickly return, not as quickly as Xander Roberts pitched there, but we do return for the bottom of the first inning here from Athletic Park. Ian Heck on the mound, the first time he will pitch at Athletic Park this season. Swing and a miss there from Freeman as he chased the high fastball. Freeman has been trending in the direction of lots of strikeouts recently. It's been a bit surprising after how well his contact was to start the season. And he will have a tall task against Ian Heck, who throws heat. He's one of the best pitchers in the league again this season. It's been 2 years in a row where he's been around the best pitcher in the WCBL conversation. one thing he does lack is the ability to win a lot of games, but that's not usually his fault.
Well, he's one of the premier pitchers, and when we had Kenny Jenks in the league, we loved watching him. So tonight's a pleasure for us to watch Heck.
Here's a grounder over towards short. It's tapped down by Dale over to first, and that is out number 1. So just as quick as Roberts got the first out, matching is Ian Heck on 3 pitches. This time it was the ground ball that got the out instead. Aaron Volcano, we've only seen him bat within this top 2 or 3 a handful of times, but he's in the 2 spot tonight. You might be used to seeing Johnny Volcano batting 2. That's usually where he resides. Johnny's still in the lineup tonight, but we will see Aaron here first. First pitch to Aaron is a strike from Heck. And that's another thing about both these pitchers is they like to work ahead, and you won't often see them slip behind in counts. Here's a throw that's a bit high to Volcano, trying to get him to chase.
Both of the pitchers work quickly, too, and that really helps your defense, helps the pace of the game.
Heck couldn't bring that one down as he misses once again high. Almost put the jinx on Heck here.
Nice crowd. Fans are still coming in. We expect about 1,200, 1,500 fans tonight.
Yeah, Mavs fans are hungry for baseball after
Yeah.
not seeing their team for almost a week. Here's one to Volcano, just under it as he flicks it high.
Good fastball from Heck. Volcano was waiting for it and just fouled it back.
Volcano will reset. Full count here. Waiting on deck is Tyler Vanesti. Here comes the throw from Heck, and it's going to be fouled back once again. Heck, little shuffle. I'm sure you've been noticing that early on. Here comes the delivery and a swing and a miss to Volcano. So the first strikeout of the night for Ian Heck as he gets closer and closer to 40 on the season. Here's a guy that doesn't strike out often. This will be a fun test against Tyler Vanesti, 2 former All-Stars. And Vanesti, a guy that won't be chasing when Heck tries to force him to. Also won't be an easy out if he throws in the zone. Vanesti won't offer there, and it's strike 1 as Heck plants it. Here's Heck gathering, and this one is shielded aside by Vanesti, and it is going to get down in left field just fair as Tyler's over to second base, and he's got himself a double. Boy, that one was towing the line right towards the very end.
Yeah, there isn't a fastball that Vanesti hasn't liked to hit, and that one was over the plate a little bit, and he got his bat on it and hit it down left field for a double.
And this is the zone here for the Mavericks where they really get going. Tyler Vanesti gets on, Carter Roth comes up to bat. It has been a deadly duo that has continued to churn out runs for the Mavs throughout the season, and they look to do so against Heck here. There's not a lot of opportunities to get to Ian Heck within a game, and having one early on, the Mavs got to feel like it's a chance to capitalize as that one right up by the nostrils of Roth. Roth will step back in. A little bit of a shock, I'm sure. Here comes the throw from Heck, and a swing and a miss from Roth. Not something we see a lot of from Carter. He's putting himself together a MVP-worthy campaign.
Well, he has a big hole on the right side, and with Heck's velocity, it could be an opening for him.
Here comes the throw from Heck. Roth is going to fend that one off, and it should be playable in shallow right, and it is. So that will take care of the bottom of the first. One left stranded for the Mavs as Vanesti's hit doesn't turn into anything more. And the Beavers survive a tough part of the order where Roth can usually make other teams pay. Now a quick word from our official network, Flow Sports. And up to start off the top of the second is Noah Brooks, and we'll talk about him throughout tonight's game. He has been one of the league's best average hitters throughout the last 2 years, batting over 300 in both seasons. And there's a bouncer low from Roberts. He'll have to be careful with a guy whose power this year hasn't shown as much with just 3 homers, but he's always a threat to go long. Roberts will step forward, and he's going to throw that one low.
If you look at these two teams in terms of team batting, they're fairly close. There's not a huge difference between the team batting average. Where there is a little bit of an advantage to the Mavs is in the pitching department. They're just about 2 ERA less than Weyburn, but heck's a big equalizer.
This one's going to be caught down in left field as Brooks didn't get all of it. And so that is going to be out number 1 here in the top of the second inning. And for Brooks, super familiar with at least one of his teammates on his team, him and Robert Gurney playing together at the University of Pike. So that means that he's also familiar with Austin Gurney, who plays there. Could you imagine playing against that university team, seeing Gurney and Brooks? That one's going to miss for Roberts. That is an all-star team, at least WCBL-wise.
Well, Austin Gurney is showing what we thought he had a couple of years ago. He's tearing it up for Moose Jaw.
He might be the front runner for MVP at this moment in time. Going to be a swing and a miss from Trevor Dale, who had a day last time he was here. I think 2 home runs in that game. And he terrorized all Maverick pitchers throughout the weekend, had a hot bat, and he's continued that throughout the rest of the season, maybe not at the same clip as he was at before, but a real effective hitter who this low in the order is a luxury for the Beavers. Going to see if he chased there, and he did, so the count is 1-2.
Yeah, he did.
And did he go again? He didn't.
Oh, he didn't go.
So the count will go to 2-2.
Very similar to the pitch right before.
I talked to Gary Dornan, another one of the Mavs pitchers, before today's game, and he said facing a lineup like Weyburn's is really tricky because of how deep their lineup is. Their first 6 hitters are all elite, and when he was out there facing them, he said that he had a tough time with all 6 of them and figuring out how to navigate around them. All very different hitters as well. There's a swing and a miss, and Roberts not having any problems so far. Another strikeout added to the resume.
Yeah, very good start for Xander tonight.
It'll bring up Zach Tanabe to the plate. He led off in both games that he played last time at Athletic Park. As we just mentioned with what Gary Dornan had talked about, just because he's at this spot in the order doesn't mean he's not a good hitter, but he is going to chase there on Roberts' first offering. Roberts working swiftly on the mound. That one's going to clip with no chase. And that's really tough for a hitter when you do chase at a pitch like that, and then you get the same one back, and you're like, well, it wasn't a good one. I'm not going to swing. This one over towards third, over to first, and Xander Roberts, a clinic out there so far as he is clean through 2 innings of play. Johnny Volcano heads up to the plate, and it's been a dangerous place so far, that home plate. Both pitchers dueling so far through the first inning and a half here at Athletic Park, something we talked about that we had expected to see. And Xander Roberts, just sensational.
Well, we said it could be a pitcher's duel tonight with these 2 pitchers on the mound.
First pitch is a strike here from Heck. Second one's high, so it won't fall. Heck, a guy that can throw a mean fastball, and with Johnny Volcano often wanting a high fastball, we'll see who's victorious in that battle. This one's going to be pushed across over towards second and through the wickets. Volcano's got speed. He's going to head for second base, and he is going to slide in there. Johnny hustling his way around the base path and making the Beavers pay on a play that easily could have been out number 1.
Yeah, second baseman just came up a little too quick on that. That's Alva at second base.
Jaden Babiak will now come up to bat with 1 in scoring position. The Mavs couldn't finish the job with Venesti in scoring position last inning. See if they can get Heck here, but it's good to see that they're getting base runners on against a pitcher who doesn't allow a lot of them.
That's right. And now we got to take advantage. If Jaden can pull the ball to the right side, we can get Volcano over to third with less than 2 out.
Here comes the throw from Heck, and it's shielded aside by Babiak. Jaden got to play against his former team just a few games back, playing against Fort Mac. And he was up north near where he's from in St. Albert, and the entire Mavericks crew went and visited his house. Babiak plays this one just over the glove in left field, and it's down for a base hit. Volcano will hold up at third, and Babiak is on the board as he gets to Heck.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you get him to third base, just get him to third, and that's even better.
And I'm sure the weekend was great for Jaden Babiak, being back home, being back up in a familiar place.
Yes.
But how about the weekend for Evan Morrison? Maybe his best so far as a Maverick.
That was a great road trip for Evan, and he needed that, and so did the Mavs.
He needs a timely hit here as he takes strike one from Heck. Chance to score a run. He's the league leader in home runs so far this season.
I think he's tied with a couple of other guys, is he not?
Yeah, there's a logjam up
Yeah.
top, as there usually is. Babiak's going to go, throw over to second base, and Babiak's going to swim around it. The throw felt like it took forever to get there, and Babiak making the Beavers pay.
Yeah, it took a little while for Gurney to get that ball into the air. It was an accurate throw. It just didn't have the velocity to get Babiak.
So no outs, but 2 strikes to Morrison, and he's going to send one high, and that one is gone. A bat flip at the end of it. Evan Morrison, stay hot. He is now the league leader in home runs, all on his own.
Yeah, there was no doubt Evan stood there and watched it go over the right center field. Yeah, he tattooed that.
That is a man on the mission. And Mo has some mojo as of this moment in time, and his team is loving it.
Stay hot, Mo. Stay hot.
So Ian Heck, he rarely gives up 3 runs in over 2 games sometimes, and he's given up 3 here within 2 innings.
Well, he ran into a hot hitter at the wrong time and threw him a pitch that he could drive.
There's a swing and a miss from Adam Volcano. We talk about guys that have had slumps during the season. Adam Volcano felt like he wasn't getting there a lot of times, and when Regina was in town facing them, he really found his spark, had his best game of his season, and has continued to pick up his play. And him and Morrison, very similar lines, at least within that they've had some huge slumps and had some times where they've looked unoutable. I guess that's not a word, but
I get what you're trying to say, Truman. You're right. There's highs and lows. It's a roller coaster sometimes for some guys until they figure it out.
2-2 count here. Nobody out yet for the Beavers. Here comes the throw from Heck. That one's going to miss low. Looking to go off speed and get a chase from Volcano. And Heck is going to miss again, so a walk to Adam Volcano. Still no outs here for the Beavers.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Heck tried to throw him a curveball on a full count. He's got such a good fastball. You're facing a number 8 hitter. Adam only has the 1 home run on the year, I believe, so you'd want to go after him, but he chose a different route.
Do you think Evan Morrison getting that big of a hit off of him maybe changed his game plan against Volcano?
Well, you got to have a short memory as a pitcher. You got to forget about that and deal with the hitter that's up there at that time. You can't do anything about the previous hitter.
Heck, long wait. Runner's going to go. This one's going to be hit over towards second. Glove down and thrown to first. Good play there from Volcano. He may have negated a double play opportunity.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a hit and run or a straight steal, but it worked out effectively. You wanted to get him to second base, and that's exactly what Dvorak did.
So the Mavericks already back at the top of their order in just 2 innings time. Volcano over at second base. Freeman a chance to drive him in and give the Mavs a 4-run lead here in the bottom of the second inning. High pitch from Heck. He's locating the zone so well in that first inning, and it's started to slip a little bit. Still lots of time to regroup as there's plenty of game to be played. Here comes Heck. It's going to be fouled aside by Freeman.
Well, it's surprising that easy ground ball to Elva, that was an error to allow Johnny get on base. And then Babia comes up and moves him over to third, or he actually got to second on that error. Moved him over to third, and then the Morrison bomb.
This one's going to be sent high, not playable over at first base as it drifts onto the roof of the dugout. And you think about if that play's made over at second base and Babiak hits a little bit lower, there's a play to be made over at third base, and then there's 2 out, and Morrison only maybe gets himself in.
Well, and you pitch to Babiak differently with nobody on than when a runner on second.
Freeman. This one's going to be grounded over. They're going to head for third, and they're going to get Volcano easily. A misjudgment there from Adam Volcano, and it's an easy out for the Beavers.
Yeah, there's a golden rule. The ball has to hit behind you. And the shortstop was actually playing behind Adam. And he took off, and it was an easy play to get him over at third.
And I think maybe Adam thought that he could have created enough of a screen when that ball was rolling past him to maybe throw the shortstop off. But that's tough to do in any way. A lot of these players train so well, they could do it with their eyes closed out there. Here comes Aaron Volcano up to the plate, and he's going to send one that's going to go a long ways, rolling all the way to the back fence. Freeman's got tons of speed. He'll stop up at third, Volcano over to second, and the Mavs have 2 in scoring position here. And another run would have been in, but with Volcano going out at third, it remains a 3-0 ball game.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That ball was tattooed. Aaron, if he would have had a little bit more launch angle on it, that would have been out of the park into the deepest part of left center field.
And there'll be an early conversation here with Ian Heck, much earlier than the Beavers would have expected. And I guess to revisit the Aaron Volcano hit for a second, if that hit was last game, it probably would have been over the fence with the place they were playing at in Henry Singer Park. I was told that anything about knee-high would have cleared the fence out there.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that park in Spruce Grove, but watching it on TV, that pitcher's mound looked like it was something in a playground. It didn't have much of a mound from what I could observe.
We'll return to the Athletic Park mound now as Heck is up to face Tyler Vanesti, who got to him the first time. Vanesti going to take a strike there on the first throw from Heck. Chance to have one of those big-time innings that we've talked about throughout the year have been rooted within the Mavericks play, especially at home. Putting up a crooked number. Oh, my goodness. That one is hammered so far foul, but might be the furthest ball that Vanesti's hit here. That thing just flew off the bat.
It was about 40 feet foul, but he hit it into that parking lot beyond right field, foul territory.
Now, there's a white truck that is way back there, but I don't even think that was safe. 0-2 the count. 2 outs, 2 in scoring position. Here comes Venesti, and he fouls that one backwards.
I kind of think that Venesti likes these challenges against the top pitchers. He's a good enough hitter where he knows that Heck's fastball isn't going to beat him. So let's see if he can have a quality at bat. Oh, that's even better.
So Venesti will head off to first base. That'll bring up Carter Roth with the bases loaded. And for Venesti, in a matchup like this, with the stakes that are fairly high for both teams, of course, the Mavericks looking to get back into the win column at home and continue to separate from Weyburn in the standings, and Weyburn playing for their playoff lives, essentially, you would like a guy like Venesti out there because he's got this calm approach. He never gets rattled, doesn't need to be in the spotlight, but excels when he is. Here's another guy that excels in the spotlight. That's Carter Roth, and another calming presence on this team.
Heck, not happy with that call for a ball. It looked like it was up a little bit, but not by much.
Roth, that one is hammered towards the patio, but it'll go foul.
I think it broke a chair down there.
So Roth will rerun
The
at
Mavs
the plate.
are playing with a lot of confidence now by the looks of it. They're not rattled by Heck's excellent pitching. They're just passing the baton, trying to do what they can. Stay within themselves.
In the off day yesterday, I'm sure a bit of a spark as well. This one planted into center field. Freeman easily into score, and the ball's going to get past the center fielder.
Could be an inside the park.
It does have a chance. Roth speeding around third. They're going to not send him. He's going to slip. Throw back towards third. He's back over there. Oh, what a wild series of events. He had a couple of chances maybe to get in, but instead it is a 3 RBI triple for Carter Roth. That ball touched just about every part of the park within that last instance. My goodness.
Well, the outfield you can see is quite dry, and it hit something and bounced right over the center fielder. He didn't misplay it. He came in, but they're giving him an error, and I'm kind of surprised at that. That ball doesn't usually jump up that high, and it went right over the center fielder, and you kind of feel bad out there for McDaniel, but good for the Mavs. 3 runs.
It's now a 6-0 ball game. And the only thing that we might not have the luxury for is seeing how close McDaniel actually maybe was to the ball. And if he was out of position, it's hard to see from up here.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
But Wayne, I think there's a fair argument to what you have stated.
Well, it wasn't like he came in and it went off his glove. It was something that would down by his knees, and then all of a sudden it was over his head.
Volcano back up to bat. He'll shake his head at that offering. It's 2-1. Volcano seeing the field twice this inning. That's a rarity. Here's Heck. That one is low.
Well, it's very hot out today, and an inning such as this is the equivalent of about 3 innings for a normal day for Heck, and this is going to drain him very quickly.
Volcano is going to tip this one backwards, and it'll roll into the stands. Full count here to Johnny Volcano. Ian Heck still trying to get his group out of this bottom of the second. It has gone on for a while. Here comes the throw. Swing and a miss from Volcano, and that will do it. But a big-time inning for Medicine Hat. 6 runs on the board. Carter Roth responsible for 3 of them. Evan Morrison responsible for 3 of them. The Mavs are rolling, and as Wayne said, it is a confident group making confident strides. Well, what an inning it was for the Mavericks in the bottom half of the second. That is a crooked number if I've seen one. And that is specifically tailored to what we've seen recently for the Mavs. Not a lot of crooked numbers at home. They've chipped away at leads, but as we saw when they played the Berries here, they weren't able to have that explosive jolt.
Yeah, that was a big inning. You like to see that big crooked number up there, not the little crooked number.
Roberts going to get a swing and a miss there. The count is 2-2. He's chugging along. Full count now. Chet McDaniel, who has to live with the last play in center field, is up to bat, hoping that he can create a little bit of electricity for his squad. And Roberts is going to get him looking. So not a fun night so far for Chet McDaniel as he strikes out looking, and then as the play prior, he'll pass the baton over, and a new member up for the Weyburn Beavers.
Yeah, Luke Malzewski coming to the mound. He'll be followed by Robert Gurney.
Malzewski swing and a miss on the first pitch from Roberts. I'm going to dip down low. Malzewski won't offer on that one. It's going to hit for a strike a little higher than the one prior. And if I'm Roberts, I'm going right back to that off speed on the outside, especially after Malzewski just watched it for a strike.
Yeah, that curveball's working right where he wants it.
Instead, it's up into center field, and it is the first hit of the night for the Beavers, and that one gets away from Xander.
He went back to the same pitch, but he had that over the middle of the plate, and Malzewski was waiting for it, and he didn't miss it. And I saw Xander Roberts point to Babiuk and patted his chest and said, yeah, I missed the spot. My fault. So there's good chemistry between Roberts and Babiuk.
And we've seen Roberts a lot with Nate King, and it was interesting when Roberts got the call today that King wasn't behind the plate for him. Of course, as we saw with Babiuk's offense there and be early going, it's good to have a guy behind the plate like that. First pitch is a strike to Robert Gurney. We talked about his brother Austin earlier in the season he's having. Same can't be said for Robert this year. His offense has been lackluster as he swings and misses. Comes the throw from Roberts. This one going to be hit down over to third. They're going to get one at second. Chance to get two, and they will. Gurney wasn't moving very fast down towards first base, and the Mavericks execute the double play in the top of the third. Another quick inning for Roberts. Not a whole lot of pitches thrown. He could go a lot longer than maybe expected, and we'll see if that happens when we come back. But first, a quick look at today's head-to-head between these two teams, and this game has spoke to what the head-to-head looks like at most points for these two. 3-1 on the season are the Mavericks against the Beavers, who are just 1-3. 236 runs have been scored by the Mavs on the season, and yet to reach the 200 mark are the Beavers with 198. The Mavs, of course, 21-12 on the year, the second team in the league to reach the 20-win mark this year, behind the Saskatchewan Berries, of course, and the Beavers yet to reach the 10-win mark as they're at 8-22. So that is what has gone on for these two this year, and that is what has gone on in this game for these two. Now, a quick word from one of our WCBL partners. Fire back up. And after what was an excellent bottom of the second, the Mavs looking to replicate maybe even just 50% of what they saw before. This one popped up by Babiuk as Heck gets to him quickly, and we get to outnumber one fairly quickly. And it'll bring to the plate Evan Morrison. Boy, would he love to repeat what he did last time. He's got a fiery game to him right now, and that was seen coming off of the bat with how far that home run went. An absolute no-doubter here at home. Here comes the offering from Heck. That one low to Morrison, and as Wayne mentioned earlier, it's running into a hot guy at the wrong time and him making you play. It doesn't matter how great of a pitcher you are, even the best, like Ian Heck, get caught sometimes as Morrison will foul this one aside.
Yeah, I don't think that Heck is going to throw a lot of fastballs to Morrison because he's a dead red hitter. There's an off-speed pitch.
Morrison thought about biting but didn't.
Well, we've seen Morris hit it over the left field wall here as well. It is 350 down the lines.
There's a strike to Morrison. Heck was on the mound when the Beavers snapped a 17-game losing skid last season. He's trying to snap another bad skid here as this one's sent into center field, and it doesn't look promising early on as another base hit given up by Ian. Now, the one good part about Heck is, Wayne, I do got to ask you this. When he comes out of the game as a pitcher, he can still stay in the DH spot.
Yeah, he's still the DH.
So you lose 50% of his game, and tonight it's probably the 50% that you're willing to give up.
Yeah, if you look at it from the Mavs' viewpoint, he's still going to be a threat with the bat, but his big threat, I think, is where he is right now on the bump.
Yeah, we'll be talking about who's in the award runnings, the early award runnings, later throughout some of our other games this week on the broadcast, and you'll see Ian Heck's name there for sure. Regardless of what else happens in this game, he's still very much a factor. And it's tough for pitchers when you play on teams that aren't winning a whole bunch to get into that conversation, but Heck and then Adam Corti from the Swift Current 57s both have been in there all year. Kind of two anomalies within the WCBL. Here's the throw coming from Heck. Adam Volcano won't go after it. His second at-bat of the night. Volcano walking his first time up. Morrison over at first. He's got speed, but not usually a threat to steal bases.
You're at that stage right now where you still need to add on runs. So I'm not sure whether Morrison is choosing not to run or he's been told not to run. He ran a lot more last year.
Here's Volcano. This one is sent out over to center, and misplaying it in center field is McDaniel. All the way to the back wall. That could have been a surefire out, and I'm not sure if that little breeze affected that ball, but it turned McDaniel right around.
Yeah, it was not a good route to take by McDaniel. He went straight to his left and then all of a sudden did the old banana route where he ran out into right center and picked up the ball and threw it in.
So Micah Dvorak, who was near the top of the league in RBIs at the beginning of the season, and he slipped a little bit since, comes up to bat with a chance to get two. Just the one out here. So anything could fly for Dvorak, as long as it's not a strikeout. Of course, I'm sure he'd take a walk as well and make the bases loaded again. There's a strike to Dvorak.
That's Heck's 63rd pitch in the third inning. He's only got one out.
Nobody warming up yet for the Beavers. Dvorak sends this one sky high. McDaniel will track it over its center. He's going to get under it. Morrison is going to go. He's got lots of speed, and the ball won't even get down to Gurney at home plate. It is now a 7-0 ball game, and an RBI tacked on to Micah Dvorak's name.
Yeah, that's what he needed to do, get the ball to the outfield.
3 at-bats in 3 innings for Jeremy Freeman Jr. Freeman, the first guy coming in to score off that Carter Roth triple. Or I guess it wasn't ruled a triple, so it would be a single. This one's going to be sent over towards right foul territory and it'll bounce into the green grass. 2 kids racing after it, both face plant, and I think one of the 2 probably has it. Here's Heck. A quick look off behind him. Freeman over the head of the second baseman and into center field. Alva could have used some stilts on that one, as it's another run for the Mavs, and it's an 8-0 ball game.
Yeah, there is action in the Beavers bullpen now.
See if we can get a number and, of course, a name. Beavers have those big numbers on the back of the jersey, which makes it really easy. And it looks like it's Ethan Webster down there. He came in relief last time the Beavers were in town. Brings up to the plate Aaron Volcano. Freeman's got good speed. He's got a fairly large leadoff as well. Throw back over towards Freeman. Probably smart to check on him if you're Heck. Mavs' other speed threat, you say Uzawa, not in the game tonight. This one is ripped towards left, and it's going to bounce foul. It seems like the Mavs are all over Heck's pitches, whether they're fair or not.
Yeah, it's the last little while his pitches have been up in the zone. And we kind of said that last inning was going to really take a lot of energy out of him. And right now his pitches are just getting up, and we're not missing them.
Freeman's going to go. Gurney down to second, and Freeman is in there.
It's his 20th stolen base, is it not? Or was he got 17? 17th stolen base.
Of course, the league record and the Mavs record, 42. Braden DeSonia a couple seasons back. And that one will be a tough one to achieve for Freeman. A lot has to go right. Here comes the throw from Heck, and a swing and a miss there from Volcano. They're going to say he fouled it. Heck swatting something out of his face there, it looked like, on his way to grab the baseball.
Well, I think that ball went off of Gurney, and he might have taken it in a sensitive place, because home plate umpire Willie Glasgow gave him a little bit of time to recover.
Heck will deal. Swing and a miss from Volcano. He's going to sprint down towards first. Throw's going to be there. Good hustle from Aaron. Something we saw earlier tonight, tonight from Johnny. Obviously runs in the family. And speaking of runs, 2 more for the Mavericks. It is an 8-0 lead. And now we will have a quick word from our network, Flow Sports. I'm not sure if you can see us or hear us. There's currently an ad playing, but we're not actually sure if that's a thing because we can't see it on our side. So we will commentate it just as we would any other time. Xander Roberts, 4th inning of work. He hasn't thrown a lot of pitches so far. Don't have an exact count unless you do, Wayne, but he's worked efficiently.
Yeah, I don't have an official count, but I'll look it up.
Just the one hit allowed for Roberts. It was just a misplacing of his one pitch. Other than that, he has been locked and loaded.
Yeah, he's only had 38 pitches, so he's under 40 pitches going into the 4th inning, and that's exceptional.
You think this lead is large for a game that's still early on? If you haven't taken a look at what's going on in Regina right now, it is currently 10-0 Red Sox against the Swift Current 57s, and that's in the top of the 3rd as Roberts issues his first walk of the night. And I guess while we're taking a look at what's happening in Regina, we'll take a look at every other game in the league. Just about every team is playing tonight. Saskatoon Berries are up 5-2 in the bottom of the 3rd, so lots of runs in that game against Moose Jaw. It is a 2-0 Fort Mac Giants lead in the bottom of the 3rd against Energy City. It is 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd for the Okotoks Dogs over the Lethbridge Bulls, who they might have the best pitching rotation in the league right now. What is happening in Lethbridge is pretty special. And in Brooks, it's a 5-3 Bombers lead over the Sylvan Lake Gulls. We've seen the Gulls start slow before, so that game is definitely not out of reach.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see the Bombers, who have not had a good season at all, up against a strong team like Sylvan Lake.
Well, the Bombers can hit, and when they're playing at home, they can score a lot of runs.
Count is 1-1 here. As Roberts gets ready to throw, and he gets a swing and a foul off there.
Alba walked. He's at first base. He's got 10 stolen bases this year. He's 10 for 13. Probably not the situation where you want to take a chance. They need base runners. You've got the leadoff hitter on.
Gonna check on him over there. Ryan Daphne's at the plate. He's top 5 in RBIs so far this year.
There goes Alva.
And it's going to be fouled aside by Daphne. And fortunately, because there's no chance that a throw from Babiuk would have come close.
He had a good jump. I suppose with Weyburn being down 8-0, they're probably thinking, well, we don't have anything to lose. Let's play it like it's 0-0.
Good lead for Alva again. That one's going to miss. Babiuk quickly down to first, and that's a risky play there for Jaden, but he put it right on the money with that throw, and if Alva's a little bit slower, they might get him.
Well, it was all in one sequence because the pitch bounced, and Babiuk reached over to get it and then did that snap throw from his knees. But Alva is quick.
This one's popped up over into right field. And it is going to be landing into the glove of Aaron Volcano. That's out number 1 here in the top of the 4th for the Mavericks. Bring up to the plate Ian Heck. Mavs have seen a lead similar to this one disappear in a game at home earlier. Of course, that was the 7-0 comeback against Regina, where they were down throughout most of the game and then had a couple big innings, and they don't get Alva in time at first. Morrison's reaction was shocked.
That was quick, and that was close. Looked like Morrison might have tagged him on the helmet, but we don't have instant review.
Morrison calling for it again.
I would not be too worried about the runner at first. If you make good pitches here, you're going to get out of this inning.
Babiuk, another throw down to first. Boy, they're putting some pressure on Alva. And if you're Roberts, you got to keep your attention directed at Heck, because if you lose focus with him, he will make you pay.
Exactly.
Alva's going to go. Heck is going to turn this one, and it is going to go foul. So both times that Alva has jumped, the Beavers have fouled it off.
And that's exactly what Xander needs to keep doing, just focusing on making good pitches. Get Heck to swing the bat, but get him to swing at your pitches.
Ooh, and this one's going to get by. Alva off to second. He might get to third. He definitely will get to third. Ball in a crowd of Beavers down in the bullpen. Throw from Morrison's going to go home to Babiuk, and it's just playing with fire one too many times, and Xander Roberts and Evan Morrison, I guess in that case, both get burned.
Well, you put too much focus on a player that has no consequence. The consequence is this guy at the plate and then the next batter.
2 free bases for Alva, who's real close to the home plate now, looking to break up a scoreless night so far for Weyburn. Swing and a miss. Knocked the guard off there for Ian Heck. Roberts has him in a good spot, though, 1-2. Waiting to go on deck is Noah Brooks, so another big-time threat for the Beavers. Trevor Dale behind him. Roberts. Here it comes, and Heck is going to send this one foul. Just overturning a little bit right now. We saw that on the deeper foul off into left, and that time a little ahead again.
Yeah, he's just getting out front with his bat. And Roberts is missing. I think he wants to go low and outside, and it's over the middle. That's where he wanted to go before.
Babiuk scrambles to that one, gets it. Alva won't come back in. And Roberts, after spiking one, will go back towards the mound, steps on there. And he'll regroup against Ian Heck. Throw on the way. This one going to be grounded down to third. Vanesti looked home. He'll instead go to first and allow the run to score. And the right play there from Tyler Vanesti. Many players would try and throw that home.
Yeah.
That's a veteran move from number 8.
That was a great play by Vanesti. That ball came up as he was going down, and he was able to get his glove on it. Got to his feet, didn't panic, and made a great throw over to first.
First run on the board for the Beavers in this game. And it's really all due to Alva being a distraction over at first. He made the Mavericks pay with his speed, or the threat of his speed.
Yeah, we played right into Alva's strategy is to put pressure on us, and when we threw the ball away, it didn't take a hit to drive the runner in.
Roberts behind here against Brooks. And a swing and a miss there from Brooks as the count drifts to 2-2. Roberts. Here it comes. This one going to be over the glove of Volcano. Boy, he shot out of his shoes there. Brooks going to head for second. They might have a chance to get him. Reaching out is Roth, and Brooks is safe. 2 chances to get Brooks out, and he avoids death twice on that play.
Well, he used his speed as well, getting into second base. He challenged the throw from Freeman. Freeman made a good, strong throw. It was just a little bit wide. But you're right, Volcano just missed his glove by maybe the width of the ball.
Yeah, he timed the jump perfect. Roberts, quick look to Brooks at second. Here comes the throw to Dale, and that one is going to miss. Now, if you're curious, no relation to Blake Dale at all as far as we know. So same last name, almost the same position as well, as tonight they are playing where Blake Dale regularly is at short, and Trevor Dale playing there in this game. But no relation. Comes the throw from Roberts down to third. Boy, that glove's working for Venesti so far. Picked that one right out of the shale, and that is out number 3. But getting one back are the Beavers, maybe making this one a little more interesting than it was prior. And we'll see if they can get on a roll, or at least a roll like the Mavericks have been on in this game. And their bats that are red hot will be right back up. But let's take a look at our player comparison of the night. And yes, subtle foreshadowing. We're doing the unrelated Dales, Blake Dale and Trevor Dale. Blake not playing tonight. 13 runs, 11 hits, 6 extra base hits on the season, compared to Trevor Dale's 12 extra base hits, 34 hits on the year, and 26 runs. Trevor Dale has been an elite presence in the WCBL. Has definitely made an all-star case. And Blake Dale, a veteran infielder on this Mavericks team, and a heck of a golfer, as we've mentioned many times, but we're going to keep mentioning it because that's how good his game is. And this one, if you're a Mavs fan, has been quite good as well. We will be right back after a quick word from Igniter Tickets. Well, Tyler Venesti's done just about everything in this game. He's had the bat going, and certainly, as we just saw in the top of the 4th, he's had the glove going. And he looks to keep that bat red hot here against Ian Heck. He'll swing at the first pitch, so it'll be 1 strike to his name. Venesti making a strong case to get back to the All-Star game this season. Made it in 2024. Maybe going to get another opportunity. And with the way he's played against Heck here in this game, he's making a real case that he might be an all-star within all-stars. Venesti going to pop this one up. It's going to be playable over at short for Trevor Dale. And Dale caught his feet in a weird spot at the last moment, but makes the play. And maybe that sun a little bit of a factor as well up top. And up to the plate now is Carter Roth. 8 hits on the night so far for the Mavericks. And we're not even at the halfway point of this game. Roth, that one near his body. That's how his night started off, with one right near his face.
Yeah, Roth with the big 3-run triple, single, air. Oh,
ooh, and that time it does hit him right on cue.
That hit his bat. It's a foul ball.
One of the most unfortunate plays in baseball. It's always tough to see those. You've seen the debate in Major League Baseball for so many years, whether it hit the hand or the bat, and then there's always some antics that go along with it, trying to sell the call. That one more of a no-doubter, as this one is fouled aside by Roth.
We don't get the privilege of hearing it off the bat up here. We're in an enclosed area, air-conditioned, thank goodness.
On a day like today, definitely.
Most of the fans would have heard it hit the bat.
This one's going to roll up towards second. Roth speeding towards first. He is in there. The ball going to roll aside, and Roth might have 2. Over to second base goes Carter, and he once again gets extra bases. And he's making some great decisions base running-wise in this game. Not another example for the Stratford native.
Well, that was an excuse-me swing. He just stuck his bat out, but he hit it in the perfect place, past the pitcher. And with his speed, he got to first, and then the overthrow by Dale got him to second. So it'll be a single and an air.
Some people might call that lucky. Others might call it good, but you have to be good to be lucky, and you have to be lucky to be good. So Roth's got it all working right now. Not sure how much longer Heck has in his day. You can see Webster watching down in the bullpen for the Beavers. He stopped throwing at this moment in time. He's back to it, but I think he's going to be ready at any moment. Volcano hit with a strike there from Heck.
Yeah, you don't want him warming up for 2 or 3 innings and not come into the game.
Volcano wasn't sure about it initially. Then he does his patented head shake right after.
It was a little delayed call.
Volcano, a swing and a miss there, and it's a strikeout for Heck. It may have extended his day. You'll see Jaden Babiak. Babiak got a hit off of him in his first at-bat. Heck's ERA coming into this game, 3.17. That will have changed. And he's not a guy that gives up a ton of extra base hits, just 6 on the year, no triples. It's 2-2 record-wise. Babiak swing and a miss on the first pitch from Heck.
Looks like there's a little bicycle gang out on that berm out in left field.
It looks like the one guy almost has a dirt bike looking bicycle. That one further away from the pack that you're mentioning.
Yes, yeah.
You know, those e-bikes have become a big thing these days.
They have. Same with those e-scooters.
Babiak swaying from side to side after seeing that call. Babiak gonna ground this one over towards second. This time it is claimed by Alva, and that is out number 3. So an inning that the Mavericks haven't seen a lot of, at least since the first. No runs there and fairly quick production from Heck. Not sure how much longer he'll have in his day, or if we'll see Webster next inning. But for the Mavs, we know we're seeing a lot of strong play on both ends of the ball, and we'll see if it continues come the top half of the 5th inning. First pitch of inning number 5 is a strike from Xander Roberts, who has been on cruise control this entire game. If you look up cruise control in the dictionary, it's a picture of Xander Roberts from today's game, according to sources. This one is going to be turned over just foul, and the Beavers have seen that spot in left foul territory a few times tonight.
Well, Roberts' off-speed pitch and his curveball is slow enough where the hitters just can't wait. And they're on the inside part of the plate, and it's hard to keep that ball fair.
It's going to be hit over to short, hot hop towards Volcano, and a bouncer to Morrison at first. That's knowing your home field as the sun is just moving over in the direction of Morrison now, and Volcano with a smart play to throw it on the ground.
And that ball came up on Volcano, too. Just when he went down, it came up, and he had the reflexes to backhand it, and then the smarts to throw that one hopper to Morrison. We've seen some excellent plays tonight from Venesti and from Volcano now.
Yeah, it looks like they're playing at Weyburn's field right now. You see a lot of those crazy bounces and players having to make tough plays like that. This one's going to be grounded, a little bouncer to Roberts. Might be the easiest out of his night. That is out number 2 in the top of 5.
Well, what is happening, too, with this hot weather, everything gets really hard. And the infield is hard, the outfield is hard. We've seen that ball bounce right over the center fielder. For goodness sakes, that had to have been a triple.
Roberts, first pitch strike, wasting no time. And despite his off speed working really well tonight, he has been in attack mode.
Yeah,
Him and Heck followed each other around in attack mode early on and kind of got away from Ian, but Roberts has stayed right with it. Comes one from Roberts. Down towards third. Venesti's going to stop it with the glove. Another play that would have been difficult, and it's going to be a hit for the Beavers, and that one to Alva.
That would have been a miraculous play had Venesti made that one.
Excuse me, that was Malzewski with the hit rather than Alva. Robert Gurney will come up to the plate. Yeah, it would have been another incredible play. And you look at Roberts, his other performances have been good on the mound. I don't think he's been in as much control as he has tonight. There's a strike to start off Gurney.
He's right around the strike zone. Even when he misses, he's bounced a couple, but most of the times he's right around the zone, and he works it in and out.
Yeah, the mode that he's in reminds me a bit of what we saw from Luis Diaz at one point, and of course the Diego Centella game when he was facing the Red Sox, and those two were just mowing down batters left and right, and very similar here with Roberts. This one's going to be wrapped around over to Venesti, a much simpler play than before. Bouncer to Morrison. It's like they've practiced it a few times. That in there for out number 3, and we are in and now out of the top of the 5th inning. The Beavers leave one on, and they still just have one in this game. Evan Morrison, who's already made one big dent in this game with a 3-run homer, back up to bat here, facing Ian Heck. He's going to get Morrison to pop up this time. McDaniel was kind of leaning backwards. Now will run in and make the play, and that's out number 1. With a pitch count that's already high, Heck will take that if he's looking to stay in this game a lot longer. And interesting that Webster has now sat down for the Beavers.
Yeah.
And he was pitching for a while out there. It's interesting that they've negated that.
Well, in a day like today when it's so hot, once you warm up, you don't cool off for quite a while, so you can come in right from the dugout.
There's a strike on the first pitch to Adam Volcano. All 3 Volcanos in the lineup tonight. And if you follow along on the Mavericks YouTube channel, you've probably seen the Dynamic Duos series. Dynamic Trios coming this week. It's finally happening. Well, that's if they show up for the interview after the game. There's still things that could happen, but we are expecting a Dynamic Duo Trios episode out on Wednesday, so stay tuned. Here comes the pitch from Heck. This one's a bullet over towards left, and it is out of here.
Woof.
Adam Volcano with a frozen rope, his second homer at home in the last couple of games and his second home run of the season.
That had a launch angle of about 10 degrees. Boy, did he hammer that.
And I'm not sure if I've spoke about this on air prior, but Adam made a comment the other day to me. He remembers coming in year 1 and playing and hitting a home run. And my call on it at the time was that I wasn't sure if it was gone, and the ball was very much gone by a mile. Whether that was how much I was seeing at the time without glasses or my knowledge of baseball, we don't have an answer on that. That time, I had a little bit more of a reason to be unsure. That one, yeah. I'm not sure how it stayed up, but it sure did. Mavs now leading 9-1 in this game. And Adam, his confidence is growing every time he plays games.
Well, you talked about it earlier on in the game, how he's starting to get into that same groove that Morrison is in. And, you know, it's good to see him. We remembered him when he first came here at the end of the season 2 years ago. And he really fit in. Like, he was a good player then.
This one going to be grounded over to second, and it's through the wickets once again. That's 2 bloops down there tonight. And defensively, it's been frustrating for the Beavers and especially for Zach Tanabe. One on here for the Mavericks with Freeman up. And, yeah, you talk about Volcano fitting in right away.
Yeah, Freeman up at the plate again.
Swings and a miss on the first pitch. And that might have been Alva who made the error over there. I thought I saw 9 on the back of the jersey, which would have been Tanabe.
Well, and sometimes they change positions, and we don't get those changes.
I think Alva's over in left field now. He's donning that number 4, and I think he just turned around, and I was able to catch a glimpse of it, so they must have traded spots. Regardless, it hasn't been a good night over at second base.
And there was some discussion as to really who was at second base, because the Weyburn lineup handed in had 2 second basemen. So
really,
there was.
That's wild. Wow.
Yeah. So our official scorekeeper had to go down and get that checked, but he told me that Alva was at second base. So
Heck, that one's going to zip right through the glove of Gurney, and it is second base for Micah Dvorak. Heck will move back towards the mound, and as I was mentioning with Adam Volcano before, and talking about this season and some of the progression, Wayne, you mentioned how he was fitting in right away when he got here about 3 years ago. And not only on the field did he fit in, but personality-wise as well, he is not a shy young man at all. He's friends with everybody he meets, it seems, and really fun guy to have in the clubhouse and be around. And with Freeman heading over towards first base, heading to the dugout soon might be heck.
Yeah, if you can't have fun playing baseball, then you're in the wrong sport.
I'm sure him and JT get along very well because that's a major part of JT's philosophy is we get to be at the ballpark every day and we get to play a game we love. Why not have fun?
So that's it for Mr. Heck.
Ethan Webster enters the game. We'll let him get warm, and then we will return with what he's done so far this season and see what he can do against this Mavs lineup with a little bit of pressure behind him. Here's one that's popped up by Aaron Volcano. Ethan Webster on the mound. Appeared last time. Plays for the University of Calgary. Speaking of Calgary, the Stampede going on up there right now. Big time event.
You were up there. You'll have to tell us a little bit about last weekend.
This play's going to be made over at first base, and there's an out for the Beavers. 2 in this inning. They get Volcano. Vanesti coming up with 2 on. Yeah, it's a fun time. There's lots of tents for older people to do, dancing or going to concerts. The rodeo's good. Many pancake breakfasts around the city. If you don't like traffic and lots of people, probably not your alley. There's lots of carnival rides and games and interesting things to do in those sorts. The atmosphere is really cool to be around, and if you ever get the opportunity, I wouldn't pass up on it. This one's going to be botched at second base. Another error for the Beavers. And this slump in the infield continues. Carter Roth. Remember what he did last time with?
Yeah, just put his bat out and got to second base on a single and an error. So 100,000 people every day at the Calgary Stampede. So it must be busy and crowded.
Very much so. The greatest show on earth is what they've taglined their event. And it is quite the show, I will say that much, no matter what you're doing there.
So I take it you went to Shania Twain?
I didn't because I don't listen to country music. That might be, now people are questioning me. You went to the Calgary Stampede and you don't listen to country music. There is more than country music there. There is all genres of people. The EDM stuff this year, I didn't go to it personally, but it was quite remarkable. They had some of the biggest names in electronic music there. So there's really a space for everyone. Not often rap fans like myself, but
Right.
every once in a while they'll get an artist in there.
So Z-Jot was playing last night? What is that, X-Jot or something? That the DJ guy?
I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of that before.
Really?
Zed
Big.
is a DJ that was playing a little while ago.
Big
Tiesto
time.
was there. He's another big name.
Oh,
This one going to take a bounce over Gurney's glove, and a run is going to come in to score. An interesting tactic there, slapping it across, and now another play is going to miss. Freeman's in to score. Are we going to get three? We are. My goodness.
that was
Hot
a snowball
potato
fight.
and
That
hot
was a snowball fight. Christmas in July, and we had a
Oh.
snowball fight.
I love it. Didn't even think of that. I was going to say hot potato on a play like that. Nobody wanted the ball. And the Mavs, without Roth even hitting, get 3 runs on the board. And Wayne mentioned off air to me, he said, you know, the play in this league and the attention to detail and some of the sloppiness has gotten so much better. And then we see something like that, and it looks like the first game of the year again.
Well, the errors have plagued the Beavers tonight. Yeah, I think you get an error, everybody gets an error on that play.
Yeah, the dam has officially burst. Here's one grounded over to short, and there will be the third out for the Beavers. But it comes at a large cost as they let Moore come in to score 4 in the bottom of the 5th inning. And they still got a game to get through here. This is going to be a tricky one for the Beavers and, of course, their listeners as well. Xander Roberts back out for the 6th inning. Just allowed 3 hits on the night. And it's wild to look at the scoreboard and see 3 hits for the Beavers and 7 errors next to it. Oftentimes you don't even see as many errors as runs scored. And the Beavers have beat both runs and hits in their errors tonight.
Well, and it's been simple plays. The ground ball to the second baseman twice, the ground ball to the shortstop. And it's really come back to haunt them. And we're getting the same ground balls to Venesti at third and at short. And it's just a matter of focusing and making those plays.
Roberts thought about it. It'll be Roth instead. Quick play to Morrison, and he's safe at first. I thought they definitely had him over there.
Yeah,
but
I did too.
They might talk about it.
No, you can't overrule that because it's just one of those plays where he called it as soon as there was a bang bang, and sometimes you have to let your mind think about what did I hear, what did I see.
I was just looking over at the umpire near second base and
Yeah,
his reaction to it. I don't think he thought that it was. Here's one off the hop for Vanesti. He'll get the out over at first base.
Yeah, I saw them kind of talking as well. They'll talk about it after the game, but you know what? Errors happen to players and they happen to umpires. And we're not even saying that that's an error, but
yeah, it was a really close play.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being down there and seeing that as quickly as it happens and trying to make a quick judgment. There's going to be a swing and a miss. That's Ian Heck.
all I can say is I'd make a lot more mistakes than they would. If I was out there, I'd be flipping a coin, hoping that it came up the right heads or tails for the play.
Roberts is going to step off here. Mavericks have nobody warming up behind him. They're going to let him go as long as he can. But a long stretch of games coming up here, so it's going to be good for the Mavericks to preserve those other arms as long as they can. 0-2 the count to Ian Heck. Here comes the throw from Roberts. It's going to be fouled off to that left side. He's been living in left foul territory today. Put up some real estate over there if you're Ian Heck. This one's going to be looped into left field. It's going to bounce down, runner coming fast around third. Throw to the plate. Babiak's there, and he's safe. Oh, that was awfully tight at home plate. The throw looked right on, and it might have just been the reach back by Babiak, and he didn't get it in time.
Yeah, I actually thought he was safe. It was a great throw from Volcano. He launched it a little bit high, but good one hopper. Babiak put the tag on, but I think they tagged him at the shoulder, and his feet had already slid in.
Second run of the night for the Beavers. Just the one out in this inning. It is now 12-2. Heck over on first base. Good commitment there from the runner in Alva, especially with the speed that he possesses. And he's really been the only one going for the Beavers so far tonight, and using his God-given ability to run.
Yeah, he scored both runs, and Heck has driven in both runs.
Now 3 pitches missing in a row for Roberts. Looks like somebody's warming up for the Mavericks down there. Not in the bullpen yet, but just against the wall. It might be Jensen Cockrell. Roberts jams Brooks there and gets a foul back.
Good to see him come back. Take it to full count. If we get a ground ball, we're out of this inning. Oops, not a ground ball.
Roberts spikes one. JT it's looking like he's going to make his way to the mound. Cockrell might be walking down there to warm up. Gary Dornan down there as well, and I think Gary Dornan is going to get the call to stretch out. So they won't pull Roberts right away as nobody's ready. JT will have a quick word with him here.
I think this is a good walk out to the mound by JT. It allows everybody just to settle down again, take the emphasis off of the base runners, where I think we spend too much emphasis on the base runners. We're up by 10 runs. And just get Roberts zoned back into throwing quality strikes, quality pitches. He's done such a great job of using his defense tonight, and he just has to trust them to continue to make those plays behind him.
Trevor Dale comes up to bat. He's not an easy out. The throw from Roberts is going to miss. Yeah, Roberts, a little bit of fatigue. Starting to show more and more. Don't think he's pitched since that Sylvan Lake game, so he's had a lot of off time, but 6 innings of work is 6 innings of work. This one going to be grounded just out of the reach of Vinesti. Runner will halt at third, and the bases are loaded for the Beavers, and I assume that the throwing is going to get ramped up over in the bullpen here with some pressure behind Roberts.
Well, the difficulty is that the Mavs have 5 games in a row coming up. They just had yesterday off. They played 6 in a row. So there is going to be some exhaustion. And plus they traveled about 40,000 kilometers as well to go up to Fort McMurray.
Roberts, there's a pitch for a strike. Babiak a little crossed up on the throw back. Zach Tanabe at the plate. Back-to-back strikes from Roberts as he gets ahead.
Tanabe is 0 for 2. He grounded to third and grounded to short.
Chet McDaniel is on deck. One dips down and Babiak gets a glove on it.
Roberts tried to get him to chase that curveball low and away.
And another one down low. That one gets into Tanabe's feet. So the count gets to 2-2. Swing and a foul there from Tanabe as he stays alive. Two and two, 1 out. Bases are loaded. Xander Roberts trying to keep what has been a stellar performance going. Now he's threatening to walk in a run.
Well, just make a good pitch, get that ground ball, or get the pop-up, strike out. He's got to throw strikes.
Swing and a miss to Tanabe. A gutsy strikeout from Roberts as he gets out number 2 and keeps those runners in, or on base rather.
Well, that'll work. That strikeout.
Chet McDaniel now with a chance to drive in.
McDaniel 0 for 2. He struck out looking his first at-bat.
First pitch is a ball. McDaniel going to hit this one high over towards center field. Freeman should have a play on it, and he does. Roberts surviving the 6th with pressure all over, and that might be it for today for Xander Roberts, but a job well done once again as he carves around the Beavers lineup, and he's in line for a win if the Mavericks carry this one out. Volcano fouls first pitch of the inning backwards from Webster. Now in the bottom of the 6th, Mavericks with a 10-run lead. 10 hits on the night as well for them. Volcano fouls that one sideways. For Johnny, a little bit of rest over the weekend, so he's looking to get back into the groove here. And probably needed rest for him as well. He had a couple games off earlier in the season, but he still played a lot. He's going to be relied on down the stretch. This one grounded up over to second, throw to first, and that is out number 1. Jaden Babiak will move up to the plate now, and back to Volcano. The bat hasn't been probably where he's wanted it to be this year. But it feels like, at least over the last 2 years, this is how it went. As the season gets longer and longer and other players around him get tired, he starts to step things up a little bit and make his push to being a more elite hitter. Babiak sends this one aside. Webster's hitting the strike zone here, forcing some swings against both Volcano and Babiak.
Well, we kind of talked earlier in the year. I kind of jested about the Volcano brothers playing together. And sometimes Johnny, who's a veteran here, tries to make sure that he's going to lead his brothers. And I don't think that's what's happening at all, because they're all three contributing to the wins that the Mavs have.
In the clubhouse, on the other hand, very, very strong leader.
Yeah.
Him and Tyler Vanesti, both as veterans, have taken on that role. Vanesti more by example in a quieter sense, and Volcano more vocal. Webster a long lean over on the mound. 1-2 the count. Here comes the throw. And that one is going to miss.
Yeah, nice crowd tonight. Probably, I'm going to say 1,300, 1,200, 1,300.
Babiak didn't go there either. Trying to work on that far side away from Babiak is Webster. Nobody warming up for the Beavers. One warming up for the Mavs. It's Jensen Cockrell, and Babiak cannot believe it. Throws his arms up in the air and then heads back to the dugout. Fans don't like it either. He thought for sure he had a walk.
That was close.
So with 2 down, Evan Morrison will make another appearance. First one against Webster. Morrison going to drive this one up towards center field. Doesn't have the distance as some of his hits in the past. And so that'll be out number 3 to end the 6th inning. We'll be on to the 7th in a second. But first, let's talk a bit about Noah Brooks. I mentioned that we would earlier. The tale of a player that's played for 2 teams in 2 seasons, formerly with the Edmonton Prospects last season, where he batted .336, 16 RBIs and 3 home runs. The RBI and home run total very similar this year. 3 with the Beavers, 21 RBIs, average a little lower at .313, but still one of the better hitters in the WCBL, and always a guy that you want to have at the top half of your lineup. Noah Brooks, a real threat. Jensen Cockrell checks into the game. Third appearance here at Athletic Park for the Mavericks. One time in a start, one time in relief. So a second relief appearance after Xander Roberts had himself quite a day, just giving up 2 runs to the Beavers rather. And he's got the Mavericks in a really nice spot. Can Cockrell continue this flow here in the top of 7? He's already started his first matchup off with 2 strikes. One going to bounce low. Cockrell out of Dallas College Eastfield, Texas native. That one going to miss low as well as the lights turn on here at Athletic Park.
It's one of those perfect evenings. Very warm, just a little bit of a breeze.
So it's going to be chucked over towards left field, and it's down for a base hit. Over and on to first base is Luke Malzewski. He's had an okay night at the plate.
Yeah, he's 3 for 3. He's got 3 out of their 7 hits.
Okay, so okay was an understatement. Now ahead is Robert Gurney with nobody out. Sure, the Mavericks would love if Cockrell could pitch the next 3 innings, and he only got to use 2 arms in this game.
Well, especially with 5 games and 5 nights.
First pitch is a strike to Gurney. Cockrell going to hit that one for a strike. I'm not even sure Babiak thought that was a strike with the way he threw it back.
Well, that same pitch caught Babiak, didn't it? Got called out on that same side.
Cockrell is going to get a bouncer over to Vanesti. Beautiful play off the dirt. He completes it to first. What a night for Tyler Vanesti defensively.
Yeah, he's playing exceptionally well over there.
It often gets overshadowed by the bat, but his defense is next level.
That was not an easy play. It's kind of that all or nothing. If you get it in your glove, which he did, you can make that play, especially with his arm.
Vanesti's clothes going to need a good wash, and ooh, that one a stinger right to the back of Alva. Alva not happy as he furiously throws his gloves off, has several words with Cockrell on the mound. Cockrell throws one back his way. They're still jawing a little bit as Alva's off to first base. Don't believe there would be any intent behind that.
No,
trying to limit the base runners.
Yeah, you're up 12-2. Why would you ever hit anybody? And we've seen Cockrell pitch. He just wants to get hitters out. He doesn't want to hurt anybody.
Alva now over towards first base. Just the one out, and now at the plate is Ryan Daphne. Daphne takes a first pitch ball. Speaking of Vanesti down there, he's covered in dirt with all the diving he's had to do, making plays defensively. Cockrell. That one almost hit Daphne as it was moving towards his body. There's a strike from Cockrell as he looks to work back in the count. Jensen hasn't been with the Mavericks the whole year. He was called up about midway through. He's pitched in a few games so far, but hasn't really worked his way into the fold yet. This one fouled aside by Daphne. Daphne's got one of the more unique batting stances in the league, very low in his approach. Apologize for the spider that I think is on our one camera. There's a bouncer. Babiuk gets it in the chest, and runners will hold behind. I'm not sure how we're going to get that thing off of there. I mean, the camera's very high, and I'm not sure I can go over there and swat it off. But it's just perched up watching the game, I guess. Here's one that's going to be hit all the way over to right field. Long carry, and it is gone. Ryan Daphne, a 3-run home run. And it is now a 7-run game. Maybe a little bit of life from the Beavers.
Well, we talked about it earlier that they do hit their share of home runs, and that was a no-doubter. An Oppo home run, 350 down the line. It probably cleared it by 20, 30 feet.
And Daphne, who's been an RBI machine throughout this season, adds a few more to his tally. And if there's a chance for the Beavers, certainly started there. They know how to get to Cockrell here so far. There's a high throw and a little bit of control issues with Cockrell as well. This one's going to be hit over towards Volcano. Took a funky hop. Spinorama to first. Along the ground, the play is made. Oh my goodness. Wow. Johnny Volcano with a circus play. 360 nonetheless as he converts it to Evan Morrison.
It's a great pick by Morrison at first base as well. Acrobatic play, as you mentioned, from Volcano. And that's big to get that second out.
And no wonder this bug doesn't want to leave our camera when you get to see plays like that from Johnny Volcano at short. Cockrell, 2 strikes here as he faces off against Brooks. But a big-time play by a big-time defender has helped him get closer to getting out of this 7th. There's a low one. Didn't get the chase from Brooks. Trevor Dale over on deck. Babiuk maybe misreading that one or miscommunication. Ball was real high.
Yeah, it was a fastball that just got away from both of them. Cockrell, I don't think Babiuk had a chance on it.
This one's going to be hit over towards Venesti. Can he make another one? It is going to be tough as he bobbled it in the dirt and Morrison was off the bag. So Brooks down at first and the inning continues.
He's been busy over at third base. Vanessa, he's had about 5 or 6 balls hit to him. It's the only one he's missed so far.
I was going to say eventually there was going to be one that was going to be maybe harder than the rest, and they've all been really hard.
He's made some great plays over there. That might have been one of the easier ones, but
strike from Cockrell makes it 1-1. Brooks over on first base. A swing and a miss there from Dale. Dale hasn't been as dominant as the last 2 games that we saw him at Athletic Park.
He was a hitting machine that time.
Brooks is going to go. This one sent skyward. Freeman all alone with the ball and his thoughts in center field, and he makes the play. So that'll do it for a longer than Cockrell and the Mavericks would have liked top of the 7th inning, but it is over. 3 runs for the Beavers as they keep their name in it here. Maybe there's a chance for something miraculous. We've seen it before on the other side of things. Can the Beavers turn the tables?
So here we are at the bottom of the 7th. Adam Volcano leading off. First pitch in there for a called strike. He'll be followed by Micah Dvorak, and the top of the order with Jeremy Freeman. Swing and a miss from Volcano. Mavs up 12-5, 12 runs on 10 hits, have committed 2 errors. The Beavers 5 runs on 8 hits and have committed 7 errors.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference in this game so far is a little crossed up there was Gurney. He keeps it in front of himself. Counts 2-1. But some big moments for players that, as we mentioned earlier with Volcano, we're waiting for them to heat up and get going. And Volcano's had a really solid night as that time he grounds out in another hustle play. It's the third time we've seen a Volcano run with all their might tonight. Second time down to first base. And Volcano, a bit of extra dirt than maybe he had planned on that run.
That was a very good play by Blake Dale. By Dale at short. He got it on his backhand and just quickly got rid of it, and it was right on target with lots of zip on it.
Well, I feel bad for confusing you now when I was talking about both them with our graphic earlier. Here's Webster. Doesn't get a swing from Dvorak there. And Dvorak, a sharp hit one up into center field. So a base hit for Micah. Got an RBI already tonight. And the hit is Jeremy Freeman Jr. And I know we talked about the Calgary Stampede earlier, but most places in Alberta at least have stampedes throughout the year, and I guess all over Canada. But the Medicine Hat Stampede will be a thing here sooner than later. So it's an exciting time. Quite a bit smaller than the Calgary one, but still fun.
Yeah, it's still one of the most recognized rodeos in actually North America. It's one of the oldest ones. And all the top cowboys that are up at the Calgary Stampede, they used to go to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and then they also come to Medicine Hat.
That ball is going to miss by a wide margin all the way back to the netting, and Dvorak's off to second base. So a runner in scoring position now for Jeremy Freeman Jr.
And there is 3 night shows as well. Not even sure who the attractions are this year.
If you're anything like me, they probably won't suit your taste. No rap, unfortunately. The city of Medicine Hat does not have a lot of rap fans. Freeman Jr. off the end of his bat. They announced the 50-50. Wayne looking right to it, and another X on the board. We should start hanging those up here as if they're banners. Full count here to Jeremy Freeman is all the way over to third base as Micah Dvorak. So busy worrying about your 50-50 mishaps that there was a mishap that allowed Dvorak to scoot over.
Makes the job for Freeman much easier now. The infield's coming in.
A swing and a foul off there from Jeremy.
That was up by his chin. He was able to foul it off.
Speaking of up by the chin, there's a gentleman carrying some burgers up the stairs. I think he's got about 4 of them in his hand. And several bags of chips as well. Still lots of ball game to be played, and this one is money. Way gone for Freeman, top of the berm. Oh my, what a shot from Jeremy.
We were waiting for him to tee off this year, and boy, did he get a hold of that one.
I think he'd been waiting too. His first home run at home so far this season, and his first home run in general this season.
That was a no-doubter.
I think just about everybody is out of the dugout for the Mavs. Pumped that he finally hit one way over. They are fired up.
They did the team jump bump in the air.
Is that the official name of it?
Yeah, it's a team jump bump.
A jump bump?
Jump bump.
So we're going to slide under the glove of Gurney, and it's now a 14-5 ball game. So any hope for the Beavers has now been squandered. Webster's control has started to slip. Lots throwing low, and when he's hit, he's seen a hit going back the other way. That time it was Freeman who did so. Volcano being real patient in this at-bat. He's taken 3 straight balls.
Keaton Husband is warming up in the Beavers bullpen.
This one's going to be fouled off a side. Webster back up to the mound. And I guess we'll see with Husband if the Beavers are married to the fact that he's going to enter the game. I'm sorry. I was trying to get it out. It's too funny. Yes, I've had that written down all year long. And yes, I finally had the time to use it and didn't even convert. Here's Volcano. This one's stretching out all the way into right, and the play is made. So that'll be out number 2 here for the Beavers. Tyler Vanesti's ahead as he digs in. 5 runs scored over the course of this 7th inning between the two teams, but it still is not as large as the Mavs' 2nd inning, of course, where they scored 6 on their own. That one flows in there for Webster. And even if today isn't the Beavers' day, they'll have a rematch here tomorrow.
Yeah.
So a little bit of revenge maybe on their minds.
Well, we also noted that they played last night in Weyburn. And they traveled all day, I would think today, to get here. And it's very hot. And I think they'll be a much better team tomorrow. I don't think we're going to see 7 errors up on the scoreboard.
Here's one that's grounded over to Webster, and he will underhand it over to first for the 3rd out of the bottom of the 7th. We have just under 2 innings to play here from Athletic Park as the Mavericks lead 14-5. And because we're in the 7th, of course, we're going to highlight a university or community. And tonight, that is Weyburn, Saskatchewan. And you might be wondering, those of you who are from Weyburn or have watched lots of Beavers games, well, we already know a lot about Weyburn. But for those fans who are unaware and have never heard of Weyburn, here's a little bit about the beautiful place. The population is just over 11,000, which makes it the 10th largest city in Saskatchewan. They're also home of a hockey team in the SJHL, which is the Weyburn Red Wings. So the Beavers, the Red Wings, the pride of Weyburn, Saskatchewan. They are the largest inland grain gathering point in all of Canada. They are the birthplace of Tiger Williams, who played in the NHL for the Toronto Maple Leafs, if many of you can remember back to that. He also rode the stick during an NHL game, kind of his trademark, a big-time fighter during those days. And also, Weyburn, home to the world's first ever curling museum. Curling, a massive sport here in Canada and in Saskatchewan especially. So now you know a little bit more about Weyburn, Alberta, and if you ever visit, there's a couple of fun facts that you know, and of course, that's where the Beavers and their players reside a majority of the time. And while we're at it, during this little intermission here, we might as well take a look at some of the scores around the rest of the WCBL. Currently, Energy City, Fort Mac. Not sure where that one's being played because you never know with the Cactus Rats, but it's a 4-2 Giants lead as they look to sneak up on the Cactus Rats for that final playoff spot. Top of the 8th inning over in Brooks. And I got to say, I called it. The Sylvan Lake Gulls now up 6-5, so another comeback effort for them. Still some game to be played, but they're in control at the moment. Top of the 7th over in Okotoks, and the Lethbridge Bulls have a 6-1 lead over the Dogs as they chase down first place. A flip of the score as well over in Saskatoon as the Berries now trail 9-8 against the Moose Jaw Miller Express, another divisional bout. And in, I guess, our final divisional bout of the night in the East Division, top of the 6th in Regina. You knew what the score was before, Wayne, being 10-0 in the top of the 3rd. What do you think it is now between Regina and the 57s?
14-0.
You're pretty close as Freeman makes that play. It is 15-1, so almost right on it.
15-1.
I don't know what else to say other than that is just a bit of a blow-up for the 57s and a masterclass from the Red Sox. We've seen the 57s in games like that quite a few times this year.
Well, we know Regina is good, and we know that Swift Current have been struggling this year, so that combination doesn't work out well for Swift Current for sure.
Here's one that's going to be fouled aside. One out here already into center field. Cockrell's still on the mound. So the Mavericks sticking to that game plan potentially of using him for the rest of the game. Here's a pitch from Jensen and a swing and a miss as he gets a strikeout. And Babiuk was thinking about making that throw down to first base, and then he was told that he didn't need to.
No, once a batter walks towards the dugout and gets out of the base path, he's considered to be a strikeout. Boy, I like the way Cockrell is throwing this inning. Just attacking the strike zone, which is what you have to do.
And as you mentioned before, Cockrell from Texas, and a long ways away from that is Luke Malzewski, who hails from Seattle. Seattle, a beautiful city. During the winter, it can be a little bit rainy and a little bit cold, but for the most part, lots of great things to do there. Good coffee. The fish market is absolutely beautiful. There's so many cool things and tasty things there as well. Took a trip to Seattle myself last year and watched the Seahawks play my Green Bay Packers, so lots of sports to watch there as well. This one's going to be head over to center field. Second catch of the inning for Freeman, and that is what Cockrell wanted to see, a 1-2-3 and a 0 for the Beavers. The Mavs might be their last chance to bat here in this game in the bottom of the 8th inning, and then we'll see maybe the Beavers for one last time in the top of the 9th. We will be back with all that and maybe more. Carter Roth will start off the bottom of the 8th inning. We get our score bug back up here at Athletic Park after talking about Weyburn, Saskatchewan in our last inning. I will say is do research obviously for all the universities, communities that we have featured on here, in Weyburn is surprisingly among the most interesting and the most diverse facts for them for sure. I mean, going from a curling museum and then being the first place to have that to also being the largest inland grain plant in Canada, those are very different things to have or be known for, but pretty cool that they do house both.
I go through Weyburn usually every year down to visit my family in Minnesota.
Roth is going to dash off to first base, and he might just get there. He does. This is the second time that he's gotten down there so far today via the sprint. And he'll be on, and we'll see if this one's going to be an error or if it's going to be...
Yeah, it'd be a strikeout and then an error on the catcher.
Just hadn't seen them put that up right away. They still haven't, so... Interesting that it's been ruled something different for now on our other score system, but...
That's usually how it's ruled, is if a guy strikes out and it goes to the backstop, it's usually an error on the catcher, unless it's an obvious wild pitch.
And I would agree. I wasn't sure that one was very obvious to be a wild pitch.
Right. I agree with that.
Count is going to be 1-1 to Johnny Volcano. Nobody out. So one Dome Tiger on, another at the plate. I guess we haven't even announced who's on the mound. It is a new pitcher for the Weyburn Beavers, and it looks like it is Keaton Husband. Husband gets Volcano to pop up, and that play has a ring to it as it's grabbed over at first base for out number 1. See, I didn't laugh that time.
Well, you're keeping it in the family anyway, so.
That was good. I got a feeling we're not done with the puns in this inning. Jaden Babiak comes up to the plate. Roth still over on first with just the 1 out. Babiak. Maybe a chance for 2 here for the Beavers. That ball with a slow roll, so they'll just get 1. So Babiak not able to get to first in time. That's out number 2. And now heading to the plate is Evan Morrison. His first battle with Husband. Most of these Maverick players seen all 3 pitchers tonight, especially with how long some of the innings have gone for them. It's going to miss for ball number 1.
Well, Morrison has a great opportunity here now to tattoo another ball.
Count is 2-0. Husband divorced from the strike zone at the moment.
Well, as long as he's not cheating out there.
We apologize, folks. But it really is just the perfect last name. I mean, some would even say a match made in heaven out there, as Morrison going to be on his way over to first. Two on for the Mavericks as Adam Volcano comes up to bat. Volcano waiting for a word from the dugout. Looks like Yusei Uzawa is checked in behind him. So somebody's night's over for the Mavericks. We'll get an update on who that is in a second.
Well, he'd be batting for Dvorak, so Dvorak would be out, and Uzawa plays left field, so he might switch with Volcano to left field. Oh, rocket.
And that one's going to get over into left field. Roth will easily come around to score. Throws down over to third. Morrison's in there, and it is an RBI for Adam Volcano, who's having himself another great night.
Yeah, he's had 2 doubles and a home run tonight, so he's having a great night.
Nobody warming up behind Husband here. Zawa waiting to dig in. His first plate of appearance of tonight. One's going to dip and miss for ball 1. Husband's command has been a bit off. This one's going to be sent up towards short, and another one that is booted. So Uzawa's the first. Morrison is in, and it is now a 16-5 ball game.
That's the 8th error tonight.
I mean, the fact that there's still potential for them to reach double digits is just, I mean, there's no words to describe it. You never see this many errors in a baseball game. And even in the WCBL, where this isn't pro baseball, these players are still really, really good, and 8 errors is uncharacteristic of any team. This one over to short. Play by Dale over to first, and he's safe. Freeman's speed too good, and the bases are loaded for the Mavs.
Yeah, well, that time Dale did everything he could, but Freeman just gets down the line too quickly, and that ball just wasn't hit hard enough. There was no play at second.
And they do give him a hit on that one, as they should have. Mavericks have had the bases loaded a lot tonight as well. And that has helped them turn in the amount of runs that they have. They haven't gone 2 innings in a row without scoring in this game. You don't often see that. Chance to get a couple more. This one's going to dip low, and they will get more. In to score is Volcano. It is now a 17-5 ball game. In terms of large leads, this is getting to be one of the largest of the season for the Mavs, at home at least. Of course, we remember when Lethbridge was here, or when Brooks was here, they put up big numbers as well. But this total might even creep higher. Volcano back in at the plate. 2 in scoring position. He's going to put this one through the gap, and in to score is Uzawa. Freeman will come in to score as well. The speedy duo each click in a run, and it's a 2 RBI single for Aaron Volcano. 5 runs in the inning for the Mavericks as their lead now pokes out to 14 in total. It's 19-5. And you know Tyler Vanesti, he's not going to put a stop to things easily. Aaron Volcano over on first. We'll get to the details on the most amount of runs that the Mavericks have scored this season in a game, and I believe that total is 17, and it was on the road against the Swift Current 57s in a game that was 17-8. This one going to be fouled aside. Remember, to start the season, they were scoring over 10 runs a game at one point.
Yeah, we were way up there at the beginning of the year. But we also saw a 1-0 and a 2-1 victory on the road by the Mavericks.
Yeah, that Sylvan Lake game was a very fun one, super engaging. And that play is going to be made over a third. A little bit of trouble there by the third baseman, but the out is made. And, I mean, that's right on theme with how things have gone tonight. Trouble anytime a ball is put into play defensively for the Beavers, and there's trouble on the scoreboard for them as well. As we said, 19-5 now for the Medicine Mavericks as they look to clip another win at home. And they're 3 outs away as looks like Jensen Cockrell is coming back out to the mound. Man, it has been a day at the ballpark for the Mavericks as they have given the home fans something to cheer about here tonight. And fans here have been accustomed to seeing that throughout this season, but it had been a little bit. Their longest stretch without a win at home after 2 losses to the Saskatchewan Berries on the 28th and 29th of June. And it's gonna be good to be back in the win column if you're the Mavericks. They got a chance to do it again tomorrow against Weyburn as well. They also have Moose Jaw twice this week, Swift Current, Saskatoon, and Lethbridge will be here next week for 2 home games. So several different teams walking into town, but the same objective for the Mavs at home, and that is to win ball games and put up big numbers offensively, which has been completed here. 3 balls to Robert Gurney, who has had a horrific night.
Well, I kind of think that it's good for the Mavs to be back home. You know, they didn't have a good feeling when they went on the road, but I'm sure the home cooking is good for them.
There's a strike from Cockrell. Yeah, we don't talk about this often, but how we talk about all the important parts within an organization. We've interviewed a lot of important people within this organization. Host families and people stepping up to take those tasks, so important all over the WCBL and specifically for the Mavericks as well.
There's a lot of volunteers that go into running a summer team like this, especially when you play this many games.
Cockrell's going to get a pop-up here from Gurney. He was behind on the count to start. Volcano's going to hold on to that one and make the play. Alex Alva will come up to the plate. He was hit by pitch last time he appeared. He was not happy with it as well, so we'll see if it's a different outcome this time against Cockrell. I will say in the past we've talked about some of the walk-up songs that opposing teams have gotten, and they've been hype songs. Today there's been some sad songs in there, and probably the right way to go about things. The Beavers haven't got any mojo walking up. And Alva will go down, and the Beavers are down to their final out in this ball game. New player out there, it's Tyron Dorrance.
Yeah, Dorrance is one of their better hitters.
A senior at York University out of Alameda, Saskatchewan. He's going to loop this one over, and it's going to go a long way back there, off the wall. Dorrance might have a double.
Whoa.
Volcano the reach back, and Dorrance is in there with exactly that.
Boy, Freeman's got a good arm out there. He threw that one hopper just to the wrong side of second base.
Yeah, he had the distance. There's no doubt there.
Yeah, Dorrance, he didn't wait. One pitch, boom.
Batting usually in that spot was Ryan Daphne, which means Ian Heck is now at the plate. One on, and Heck with a big swing there. That one dipping low. Good throw from Cockrell on pitch number one, and results in strike number one. Another low one. Babiak using all of his body to keep that ahead of him. So it'll be ball number one. If you're the Beavers here, getting Dorrance in, having a little bit of a jump to tomorrow's game, maybe something to smile about at the end of this game. Be a bit nicer than going home knowing that you ended the game with a 0 on the board. I mean, they've had 4 runs in the last 3 innings prior to this, and their offense has picked up a little bit, but it's been those errors that have really put them into stranglehold. Is Cockrell doing that there to Heck and getting a swing.
Plus the Mavs have hit the ball well tonight.
Yeah, I think regardless of if you cut the errors in half, the Mavericks are still probably up by a sizable margin. Here's the throw from Cockrell, and nearly got away from him. As Cockrell faces Heck, maybe one last note on him here before I'm sure we'll talk about him in the post game, but not his night tonight. This is not the version of Ian Heck that the rest of the league has gotten used to seeing over this year and last year. There's one spiked in the dirt. Heck will work himself a walk. Dorrance will go over to third base, and there'll be runners on the corners. So Cockrell back to the mound. Brooks into the batter's box.
Well, we talked about this briefly before. When Weyburn came here earlier this year, we thought that they had a good, solid team, and the games were very competitive. But tonight, it was just not really that competitive of a game. And I know the Mavs jumped out in the second inning with 6 runs, but there was no fight back from the Beavers at all. And that has something to do, again, with Xander Roberts pitched really well for 6 innings.
Babiak a little confused by that one. But yeah, as you said, Roberts didn't give their offense any breathing room, any room for air, and he capitalized on all the opportunities that he had in front of him. And that allowed for the Mavs to be more free at the plate on the other end and hit their way around the Beavers. And for the Beavers, I think when you're in a skid like the one that they've been in, it's hard to, pull yourself out of that in general. But when you get down in a game early on, it's hard to get any sort of momentum. And we saw that in their play and body language, I would say.
Yeah, when you're 1-9 and you get down early, like 8-0, it's like, here we go again.
And that will do it. The Mavericks, in what was a slugfest on their end, more so with themselves, 19 runs on the board, as it is 19-6 the final score. Jensen Cockrell finishing this one off. Xander Roberts with a day on the bump. He was spectacular. The Mavs back to their winning ways at home as they snap a 2-game losing streak at Athletic Park. And they get back in the win column in general as well, coming off a loss against Energy City, off day in between, and then a win against the Beavers today. everything working in their favor.
Yeah, it was a very good start by Xander Roberts tonight. And he had a good cushion after the Mavs went up 8-0. But boy, he pitched well. He pitched like it was 0-0, kept attacking the strike zone. He did have 2 innings where he gave up 1 run each, but those non-crooked error innings don't hurt you. And he was really, really a force tonight on the mound. And, we wanted to see Heck at his best, and tonight we just jumped all over him in that 1 inning, and we wore him out, and I think that really drained his energy with it being as hot as it is. And then to see Morrison and Volcano hit home runs tonight, it was just an all-around effort. There were some great outings tonight. Adam Volcano, the DH tonight, 2 doubles and a home run. He's back. He's going to be hard to keep out of the lineup.
Yeah, we saw once he got going last year, the confidence started to sprout as well on the field, and it just didn't seem like they could stop him at any point. And he only came in at the very end of last year. And aside from that, we're already going, we want to officially welcome you to Mavs postgame here from Athletic Park after the Mavs victorious 19-5. And we talked about the Beavers. Despite their offense looking non-existent at times, they did have a couple of factors. Alex Alva was great with his speed on the base path. He looked real sharp tonight. And then as well in there, although they didn't have a performance like the one that Trevor Dale put on last time he was here, Ryan Daphne with the big home run, as we've seen him do so often, there were spots where they had their time.
Yeah, Luke Malzewski batting in number 8 had 3 hits tonight. And let's not forget Jeremy Freeman's first home run of the year.
For sure.
That was so good to see him get I think his very first bat of the year, I remember he hit a ball off the right center wall, and it was about 2 feet from going out. And he would have had a first home run in his first at-bat. But sorry, we had somebody at our window wanting to give us a water bottle, like what we would do with a water bottle. But yeah, it was really good to see Freeman hit that home run, and he scored 3 runs for us tonight. We just had some good hitting up and down the order. Vanesti, I think he set the tone with his first double off of Heck, and then all of a sudden we started rolling. After that, it kind of was one of those things, hey, you know what, Heck is good, but we're a confident group. And full marks to the Mavs for tonight's win.
And oftentimes we talk more about managerial decisions in a game and the little things that a coach can do to impact it. One of the things we didn't mention about tonight was the timing of the mound visit by JT when things started to get a little off for Xander Roberts, and him coming out and having a real short chat with him, but it seemed to get Roberts back into his feel after that.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that. We kind of talked about it a little bit. We were spending so much time focusing on the runner at first base, and we were trying to pick him off, and we were up 8-0. And then finally we threw it away, got to third, and that's how they got their first run, and then another guy got on. And we needed to regroup and get our focus back into, let's attack the hitter. That's the person that we need to get out. Forget about the base runners. When you're up 8-0, you don't have to worry about the base runners.
And for the rest of the night, there wasn't a lot of those on the Beavers' end of things, and that resulted in a 19-5 Mavericks win. These two will be right back here tomorrow, and we'll see if there's a little bit more of a push from the Beavers, if the game's a little bit more exciting come Wednesday night. But for tonight, it was all Mavs, anchored by Xander Roberts on the mound, and plenty of great performances throughout. And as Diego Centella always says, he always likes to ask the question, do you love baseball? And it seemed like the Mavs, and I guess as a result their fans, really enjoyed what went on here at Athletic Park tonight. So, for Wayne Slosher and myself, Truman Bartman, as always, this one comes to a close, and despite how exciting it was, we can't wait to see what the next one brings. Take care, folks.